compression on your vocals?
Yeah, distressor.
Okay. How much, sort of like
10 to 1.
10 to 1?
Smash it.
How many dB gain reduction?
Like between 4 and 10.
Do you ever track the drums of guitars with compression?
No.
Okay, cool. And EQ when you track in?
No.
No. Okay, tend to stick to
get it right at the source.
Moving on to mixing, back to drum samplers briefly. You obviously just tend to use them as reinforcements, or do you replace your kick?
With the kick, I'll use a lot. The most sample I use ratio-wise is with the kick for metal, because that's the sound, you know, the consistency and with the speed. But I like to keep the snare as organic as possible, and I never use any tom samples, and I leave the room and the cymbals always.
Do you compress your overheads during the mix?
A little bit sometimes, if I have to, yeah.
How wide do you tend to have your, because you were talking about a spaced pair generally being your main way of capturing your metalwork, do you tend to have that really wide or tightly tucked in? Or?
Yeah, pretty wide, not all the way. I'll put the stereo rooms all the way out.
Yeah.
And the overhead's a little bit to 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
And then rhythm guitars, when they're
hard.
quad track, just hard both ways.
Yeah.
Do you hard gate your kick and snare?
I hard gate the kick. I like the snare. I gate the snare. You know, I have to. I get it as much as I have to.
Yeah.
I like to keep it as slow as decay as possible to have it ring and be itself and not choke it out.
Sure.
But if it's terrible bleed going on there, you know, you gotta deal with it.
And then with your toms, what's your approach with gating or
chop the audio?
You do waveform edits.
Yeah. Sometimes you want them to ring a lot longer than other times, especially with fast music. You kind of want them to get out of the way. If there's a big cymbal hit coming on a downbeat, a fill, and then a downbeat of another section, and you got tom cymbal bleed, that you got to cut that one off.
Yeah.
And so you can adjust your fades along the way differently, as opposed to like automating a gate for every little moment that needs to change.
Sure.
So I think it's faster, and once you've set it, then it's done. And you don't have to rely on a plugin working. It's absolute.
Do you use parallel compression on your drum tracks at all?
Sometimes I do on the snare.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not like one of my go-to normal things I do.
Do you compress your guitars?
No. Not distorted guitars. I sometimes a little bit, but with a distorted guitar, I mean, look at it.
It's no dynamic range at all, yeah. Okay.
The only time I would do it is if I get some kind of color out of the compression or maybe contain a little bit of the jung, because it gets rogue a little bit. But
do you tend to use series compression with a lot of different compressors on the channel and on the group with the bass? Or do you tend to just keep it on just the sum?
I hit it hardest on the group. Yeah.
But you'll still have some compression on the channel?
Yeah, or limiter, yeah.
Say your quad track guitars, you've got your 57 and your 421, so we've got 8 channels of rhythm guitar. Do you EQ on the individual channels or on the sum? Or both?
I don't EQ the individuals.
Right.
Yeah.
As
again, it goes back to getting it right at the source. It's just usually the 57 is higher up on the fader than the 421.
How many reverbs would you use across the whole mix?
I'll use one reverb for the snare and one for the toms.
A different one for the snare and toms?
Yeah, and sometimes I put the toms in the snare is the same one. You know, I don't use a lot of reverb. I like the rooms to do that.
Do you use verb on your kick?
No, only when it's like really open, like if it's like, you know, if it's a really slow part, or like just a really part where there's only a kick happening kind of thing, so it's not too dry.
And you keep your cymbal mics clean of reverb?
Yeah.
Do you mix with the compressor over your master bus?
Yeah.
Do you take that off when you send it off for mastering, or do you leave that on?
Well, I've done a lot of my own mastering. Like Gojira, for example, and I mastered it in Pro Tools simultaneously during the mix. Most of the records you've heard me do, I've mastered them as well. I'm working on Limp Bizkit right now, and I'm mixing that, and I used a mastering engineer for that. I went like just compressor on the bus, a little bit, you know, everything maxing -3, and sent it off for proper mastering. You
left the plug-in on when you sent it off, or do you take that off?
I left it on.
You left it on?
It was part of my, glue.
Logan, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Absolutely.